BSc, University of Mysore, 3rd semester, Session 8, Hunger and Appetite. Here, the students learn about the definition of digestion. They learn about the human digestive system and the difference between hunger and appetite. Let us come to the definition of digestion. Digestion is the breakdown of larger insoluble food substances into smaller soluble food substances so that it can be absorbed in the blood plasma. Certain organisms, these smaller substances are absorbed through the small intestine into the bloodstream. Digestion is a form of catabolism that is often divided into two processes based upon how food is broken down. It is of two types, one is mechanical digestion and another one is chemical digestion. In the mechanical digestion, the larger food pieces is broken down into smaller pieces which is subsequently assessed by the digestive enzymes, whereas in chemical digestion the enzymes break down the food into smaller food molecules so that the body can use it. This is the component of digestive system. It starts from the mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, large intestine, small intestine, rectum and the anus. If you just look into the mechanism of digestion, how the food has to be digested. The carbohydrate food, the protein food and the lipid food. The larger food molecules or the carbohydrate, the polysaccharide should be converted into the smaller food particles, that is the glucose in the form of monosaccharides or disaccharides, and protein should be converted into amino acids and the lipid should be broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. If you just look into the diagram, how the mechanism of digestion takes place in each part of the digestive system. Starting from the oral cavity, the mouth where the food is taken through the mouth, and the teeth which helps in breakdown of the food by the process what is called as a chewing, which breaks the food into smaller particles, and also the saliva secreted by the salivary gland, that is called as a salivary amylase, which hydrolyzes the food and moistens and lubricates the food, forming bolus, and this bolus is swallowed and moved through the esophagus by the process what is called as peristaltic movement. About 30% of the hydrolysis of the starch takes place in the oral cavity, and then the food enters into the esophagus and then enters into the stomach. The gastric juice and enzymes that is secreted in the stomach, that is HCl, which is in the acidic form, it converts the proenzyme into pepsin by HCl, and the pepsin converts the protein into peptones and proteases, and the proenzyme prorenin is converted into renin by hydrochloric acid secreted by stomach, and casein, that is the milk protein, is converted into peptides by renin. And the food mixes with the gastric juice by churning movement, and the chyme, that is a semi-digested acidic and pulpy food, it enters into the small intestine. The small intestine is divided into duodenum, jejunum and ileum, and this chyme is further mixed and churned by peristaltic movement. The pancreas and the liver secretes enzymes which helps in the breakdown and absorption of food into the blood. The pancreatic juice break down the carbohydrates and proteins. The intestinal juice breaks down the carbohydrates and proteins, and the bile, which helps in the conversion of fat globules into fat droplets by the process what is called as emulsification. And the pancreatic lipase, it converts the triglycerides into fatty acids and glycerol. And this is how the digestive juices and the enzymes act in the conversion of the proteins, carbohydrates and fat into simpler molecules. And majority of the digestion takes place in the small intestine, and then the food enters into the large intestine. Here in the large intestine, there is significantly less digestive activity you can see. And here in the small intestine, it secretes the mucus that helps in lubrication and holding up of the waste particles, and also the absorption of minerals and water and certain drugs occur in the large intestine. And the bacteria that act on the leftover food particles, and the digestion of indigested food materials occur in the small intestine. Next, coming to the hunger and appetite. Hunger is a feeling of discomfort or weakness caused by lack of food, coupled with desire to eat. When we starve for 1 or 2 days, definitely we have to eat the food in order to live. The appetite, it is just a strong desire or liking of something. So this desire satisfies a bodily need, especially for the food. When we are hungry, we will eat whatever the food that is provided, whether it is a leftover food or hot food. Appetite, though our stomach is full, when you see the delicious food or favorite food of your choice, definitely even if your stomach is full, you like to eat. That is the major difference between the hunger and appetite. So hunger is painful sensation. It is caused by the lack of food that initiates food seeking behavior, whereas the appetite, it is an integrated responses to the sight, smell, thought or taste of food that initiate or delays eating. The hypothalamus, a brain center that controls the activities such as maintenance of water balance, regulation of body temperature, and also it controls the appetite. So what is the major difference between the hunger and the appetite? In hunger, the desire comes on gradually, whereas in appetite, the desire comes on strongly and suddenly. In hunger, we can wait until food is available, but in appetite, we eat for our satisfaction. In hunger, that comes naturally without any outside influences, whereas the appetite, when you see a movie or when you watch any when you watch any ad, good food is shown, like pizza or jamun or masala dosa is shown, definitely you will influence to eat. So that is called as appetite. And in case of hunger, open to eating a variety of food for satisfaction, whereas in case of appetite, the grave specific comfort food, it may be salty food, sugary food, fatty food, you are willing to eat. In case of hunger, you are aware of what you are eating, generally more mindful, because you are starved, you have not got the food for 1 or 2 days, you get hunger, or you skip one time meal, you get hunger, and that whatever the food is provided to you, without minding it, you will start eating the food. Whereas in case of appetite, you often eat more than expected. And in case of hunger, you feel satisfied when your stomach is full, but not in case of appetite, because you feel unsatisfied or you want more. If you eat one jamun, you like to eat another jamun, 3 jamun, 4 jamun, like that, because you are not satisfied, because that is your favorite food, you start eating. But not in case of hunger. Once you stomach is full, you stop eating. That is what is called as satiety. The physical stomach growling or of low energy, and if in case of appetite you feel strong craving in your head. And in hunger, less likely to feel guilty or shameful after eating, and in case of appetite you feel regret or guilt afterward eating. So this is the major difference between the hunger and the appetite. So the ghrelin is an hormone produced in the gut. It is also termed as hunger hormone, and it is also sometimes called as linomorelin. This travels through our bloodstream and brain, where it tells the brain to become hungry and seek out the food. Ghrelin main function is to increase the appetite, and it makes us to consume more food, take in more calories, and store in the form of fat. Leptin is an hormone made up by fat cells that decreases our appetite, and hunger hormone is leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin is an hormone that increases the appetite, and it also plays a role in body weight. These are the multiple choice question. You can answer for the question. The hormone secreted by the pancreas during and after meal is glucagon, insulin, pepsin. The correct answer is B, glucagon. The second question is, in the event of starvation after consumption of glycogen and fats, the next nutrients that is to be consumed is starch, cellulose, proteins, and adenosine triphosphate. The answer is C, that is proteins. The third question, what happens when a person goes hungry for a long period of time? They may be more prone to the disease, they may be stunted in height, that affects brain functioning, all of this. The next question is, it has been several hours since your last meal and you are beginning to feel hunger pangs. This is because your stomach is secreting which hormones? That is to stimulate the appetite? Ghrelin, peptide, neuropeptide Y, lipase. The correct answer is neuropeptide Y. After eating breakfast, we no longer feel hungry. This is because our fat cell secretes an hormone called as ghrelin, neuropeptide Y, hypothalamus, and leptin. Leptin is also called as an hunger hormone. So the correct answer is leptin. So these are some of the references of physiology books, and you can go through it. Thank you.